Hey guys, hey, how are we doing? So last week we started with talking about the South and the medicine wheel, and I want to keep going in the South. I'm of course not going to take you guys through like what I do with my students and that kind of stuff, or even my clients, but enough to help you with your healing journey, to understand the shamanic healing way, to understand the medicine wheel, to understand illumination therapy. That's what we're going to talk about today. A lot of wound healing. So if you don't know who I am, I'm Bree. I am the owner of The Savvy Wolf Holistic Healing. I am a shaman, a shamanic teacher slash coach. I am a spiritual mentor, and I am an energy healer. I work a lot with energies. I do readings. So I pulled some cards for us today just to get things kind of rolling a little bit. You know, last time we were talking a lot. I feel like we've talked a lot about some heavy stuff, so I kind of wanted to like just pull some cards. Let's just pull some cards, see what's going on. So the first card that came out is the universe has your hand. So the universe is your partner. You know, I like to think of the universe as my business partner. What I put out into the universe is going to come back to me. My business partner is going to work with me, right? Like we have this 50-50 working together constantly partnership. So as long as I'm putting good out there, my partner is going to do the same. So think of the universe as your partner. She's not an enemy. She's not here to get you. She's not against you, but she is your partner. She is your business partner. So whatever you want to create, create it with the universe. You are always protected. You are always taken care of. We always have, there's always a plan for everything. There's always a reason for everything. Nothing doesn't just happen. As long as I have been on my spiritual journey, which has been a long time now, clear back when I lived in Wyoming, I can tell you that nothing doesn't just happen, okay? Things happen for a reason. So there's also going to be some possible unions, so some possibilities for a union happen, so like some togetherness happening. If you don't have that happening in your life, then go look for the togetherness. Look for people coming together and be a part of that community, be a part of that union. If you are like, hey, there's no community here, then create a community. Why can't you create a community where you're at, you know? And then the last one is transmuting pain. And this is going to help segue us into what we are talking about today. So we are going to be talking about wound healing. So the last time we talked, we started talking about serpent and how maybe the serpent isn't evil, especially in shamanic healing. The serpent represents the South, Sachi Mama. So she's about shedding the skin, letting things go. She is literally life itself. The ups, the downs, the flows, the touching of Mother Earth. Her belly literally glides along Mother Earth. She is life itself. So she is beauty. But for so many years, we've made the serpent out to be something ugly, something negative, something evil. And maybe in some cultures, some places it might be, but in many cultures, the serpent is actually respected and understood. So what I do is I do a session. It's called illumination therapy. It's actually, I call it illuminating the wounds within, or illuminating within. There we go. Illuminating within. Because we're literally taking those wounds, those stories, and we are going to illuminate them. We are going to send light through them so we can get rid of those stories. So we can send the light to where the pain is, the hurt, that kind of stuff, and start to remove it also. So that is where the illuminating within part comes from. So a wound is going to happen anytime we experience a dark part of us. Anytime we go through something negative, a wound can be created. And what this wound is it's attached to this negative story. And so we keep creating these patterns, and we keep living this cycle, and we keep reliving the story over and over again. Maybe it's a relationship. We keep getting into this negative relationship. It's the same people, the same friends, the same boyfriend, girlfriend, partner. It just keeps happening over and over and over again. And we can't figure out why. Why do I keep attracting this person into my life? Why does this negative thing keep happening? Why is it that I keep finding balance here, but then all of a sudden, everything falls apart? Why is that? So when we create this story, we create this wound, we create a negative attachment to it. Now here's what happens when you guys come in for a session with me. So when I give you a call, I say, hey, let's get going. We will talk about your wound. So I'll let you start talking about your wound as I open up your chakras and I start to clear out any negative energy, any crystallized energy, any heavy energy, any attachments that you might have in that moment. And I begin to clear that stuff out. So let's talk about money for one thing. Money is a big one. Money seems to be something that a lot of people, that's a huge wound for a lot of people. Same with relationships. So let's say you come to me and you're just like, I keep getting into the same relationship. I keep falling for the same person. And I can't figure out why. So I'm going to have you start talking about that. So what you're doing is you're starting to bring that wound forward. Here's how I see a wound. It literally looks like something, it's kind of hard to explain, but it looks like something that is just oozing. And it's like this gaping hole within you. So it could be anywhere within your body, but it's just this gaping hole, and I'm seeing stuff pouring out of it, and it's that negative energy. And what that negative energy is doing is it's attracting those experiences back to you. It's pulling that negative energy back to you. So as it spills out, it also attracts it back. It's probably why you get tired easily, or if you are in those relationships, it's probably why you fade easily in those relationships, or you cave, or you go home and you're just like, I'm so tired, or you cry a lot, or you can't sleep. It's because that wound is spilling your energy out, but it's not positive energy either. So it's almost like it's working overtime. If you got shot and you were bleeding from the chest, you probably would get tired, right? And you can't, all you're doing is you're putting like gauze on it and you're not getting it to stop, and you're just putting a band-aid over it. What's going to happen is it's going to keep bleeding out. So in a session, we're going to go in and we're going to look at that. And I'm going to have you start to talk about it as I go in and I start to find the root cause. So what I see inside of you guys is roots. I didn't realize it for a long time, but I thought I always saw, it's almost like I can see the nerves in your body, but they look like roots. So all your positive stories have like gold roots, and they're beautiful, and they're either connected to Mother Earth, or they're connected the way that they're supposed to be, and they're sending out that positive energy. But then your wounds and your stories have darker roots, and it's that dense, heavy energy, and it's just like, it's dark. It's just darker. There's no color. There's no it is what it is. So I go underneath that while you're still up here on the surface level, talking about your wounds, getting it out, starting to clear that energy, and I'm going to go down underneath and start to follow that root all the way through all of the systems, through the other roots, finding it until I find that initial seed. I figured this out, it was sometime last year. I was working with a client, and at first my illumination sessions were all surface level. And so we talk about the wounds, we clear it, we create the I am safe statement, we're done. Then all of a sudden my guides one day said, we're going to do something different. You're going to go even deeper. You're going to go really deep within this person, and you're going to pull it all out. And so when I followed that root down and I found that seed in that first person that I did it with, it went back to a past life. So it could be a past life. It could be a part of your past in this current life. It could even be something that you haven't even realized happened in your life. But it's the seed when it was originally planted. So for that person, it was in a past life. And they kept screwing things up because they screwed somebody over in that past life. It literally took me back to like the Wild Wild West, where I could see where they like took this property and this land from this person, like they were like the governor or the mayor of this town, and they were taking property from people. like multiple different people. And so in this lifetime, they kept getting screwed over. They had a house, it fell into foreclosure. They had a really nice car, lost it, it got repoed. Like all of this stuff kept happening, all this bad luck, so to speak. And it came from that one little moment. So we found the seed, we revisited that memory, we went back to that moment in time, and we started to take the seed out of her system. So I started to kind of like dig up the seed a little bit and start to take it out and allow her to, you know, feel whatever emotions, feel whatever she needed to feel in that moment, really start to pull it forward. And as I'm pulling the seed out, I take the entire root and the wound and I take it out of your body and I put it in the fire. So I usually have a candle next to me that's burning, and I will put it literally into that fire. And then we're going to replace it with something positive, so a new story. So, you know, for example, for this particular client, they decided to replace that with, I consistently receive positive and I work in my highest good for all. So that they could turn that story where they were doing something super, I don't know if that's exactly it. I never remember what you guys actually do, but that's like an example of it. But they could take that entire story of negative where they stole from other people and turn it around into something completely positive. Now here's what was extremely different in my sessions before. You know, we worked with I am sessions, which we still, or I am statements, which we still are going to create an I am statement, but now you're going to plant that new seed within you, and it's going to allow it to grow roots. And then, you know, I can spray the Florida water, I close your wound up, I send energy through it so that it can create a golden root like all the other ones, something positive. And then for the next couple weeks, you're going to work with that seed and allow that seed to grow. And you're literally going to water that seed, and you're going to give that seed the nutrients that it needs, the light that it needs, whatever medicine that seed needs, you're going to work with it. What it does is it helps you, for one, listen to your own intuition, start to connect to your own intuition. That helps you start to find the power within. But then it's also going to allow you to really completely take that complete story out and replace it with something new, so that you can create a whole new, beautiful, more powerful, stronger story that helps with your future. That's essentially what we do in a session. How does that help you guys? Well, because we constantly, a lot of us walk around with wounds and we don't even realize it, and we project it onto other people, and we send that negative energy out to that person or other people, and we don't realize it. And these other people are being mirrors for us, maybe because they're triggering us. And instead of looking within and saying, oh, I need to work on this, we just keep pushing and pushing and sending that negative energy out instead of looking within. So this allows you to go within, and then we literally illuminate that wound until it's completely out, sending the illumination all the way through. It's as simple as that. That's something that my students learn. Well, if you take the medicine wheel, it's something that you learn the original illumination session in the medicine wheel. But obviously, I take it even further, because as you grow, and this is the beautiful thing, if you're a healer and you're listening to this, and you're like, well, my sessions are completely different than my mentors, or, you know, or my coach or my teacher, good. Nobody taught me that what I was seeing was roots. I had to figure that out on my own, and that's the beautiful part of it. As I continually work, I'm learning how I authentically heal, how I authentically work with energy. What is my authentic gift that is true to me? And that's what you're going to do also. Does my shamanic teacher, did she see roots like that? I don't think so. I've never heard her talk about that. I don't know. I don't think so though. You know, I know that she and I don't heal or don't work in the same way, and that's beautiful. That's good. You know, she works with, you know, in a whole different way than I do. I know she works with angels, And I work with some angels. I work with a whole bunch of angels, fairies, your loved ones, ancestors. I work with a lot of ancestors also. But up until last year, I never even worked with like a demon, other than when I had a partner healer. So like with her, we extracted a demon from a kid. With another healer, we tracked this demon back to its original source and were able to destroy it. But I never even did that by myself until last year. Actually, it was in a session, and it had to do with a person's wound also. They had this strong attachment that actually came out to be a demonic entity that was attached to them. And as I pulled it forward and I saw it, I realized that what I was working with, and I had to learn how to balance that energy, because something like that's going to suck my energy. It's going to suck my energy. And so I had to learn how to balance that. Has it taught me a lot? Yes. Has it allowed me to trust my own gifts? Yes. And that's the beauty of it. As you release each of your wounds, each of your stories, and work in the south. This is all south work. This is just the surface level. You're tearing off the layers of your skin and shedding them like the snake. This is what you do in the south. This is where I usually start you out. If you're a client of mine, you usually start with an illumination session. I start with your wounds because that is the surface level before we go even deeper within and start to really rip stuff out. Now, if you think that's big, schedule a soul retrieval or an ancestral healing session, and then we really go deep in, or the shadow healing, and we really go deep in. But that's the beautiful thing about energy work, about healers, about the healing work. No healer is going to work in the same way. No healer is meant to work in the same way. And as I finally stepped on my path and my authentic true self and listened to my own intuition again, I realized that. And that's the message I get to share. That was actually one of my wounds. I constantly thought that I had to do my sessions in a certain way, in a particular, set up a certain way, until I was forced to not be able to do that. Literally could not set up my session in a specific way, couldn't do something in a very specific way, and I had to learn what was my true, authentic way of healing, which is when I realized that what I see in people are their roots that I can follow down to their seeds. I would have never known that had I not started listening to my own intuition and working on my wounds and shadow work. Shadow work had a lot to do with it, I'm not gonna lie. I did a lot of shadow work last year. So what happens now that the wound is removed? Like I said, I close it up. It's not gonna open back up. As long as you work with that seed within you, it's not gonna come back. You're not gonna open it up. You're not gonna live through that pattern again. You might notice the pattern coming, but then this time you can step around it. So you'll see that toxic relationship coming. You'll be like, what the heck? Where did this guy come from? Or a girl, partner, whatever. You'll look at this person and say, where did you come from? And you'll be like, no, I deserve better. I'm not doing that. That's not happening. And that's where the healing happens. That's where the seed continues to grow and gets to really root itself and grow and become something even bigger, a bigger part of you. And you get more connected to Mother Earth, and there's so much healing in that. And it's so beautiful. But sometimes I think that we do get confused because we're constantly looking at the light, the dark, the evil, the this and that, and we're forgetting that it's not this or that, it's this. We're right here. This. We have to combine the light with the dark. We have the healthy balance of our dark and our light within us. Last episode I did talk about how people perceive darkness in other people, and they might think that that person is doing quote unquote dark magic, but maybe they're not. Maybe they just have the balance between the light and the dark, and it just looks like it, because some of us aren't willing to face the darkness. Some of us aren't willing to go in and find the root cause of that wound and release that story, because it's so much easier to hold on to that story, but it's not healthy. And when you start looking at your own life and you're like, okay, why do I keep getting sick? Why is my blood pressure so high? Why do I keep getting headaches? Why does my back keep hurting? Why does this keep happening to me? You know, notice that you're constantly saying these words. Why, and why? Why do you think you keep saying the word why? In the South, we also learn to take ourselves out of that victim mode. We're no longer the victim. So we can face that wound, but we're also not the perpetrator, and we're not the rescuer. We're not here to be heroes. I don't have a cape on my back. I'm not your hero. When you come to me for a session, I'm not your hero. I'm here to hold the space and help you release the energy, but I am not going to do the work for you. You have to do the work. You have to work with that seed every single day. And there will come a point where you don't, have to work with it as much anymore, because it just naturally comes. You just step out into the sun and you naturally receive the sunlight. You're already watering it every day because you're living in your truth and your purpose. It's just those first couple of weeks where you're integrating it and things are moving and it probably feels a little bit uncomfortable at first, that things happen. But listen here, one of my clients just had an illumination session with me, and she lost like 10 pounds. I don't know if it has to do with that too, but I was like, damn girl. She's been trying to get this weight off of her. And after her session, it was like a couple days after her session, she went in to weigh with her personal trainer and she had lost 10 pounds. I don't know if it has to do, I don't know if they're tied together, but I like to think that because she did the work, it kind of helped her take the weight off. Like maybe that weight was being held there for a reason. But so many beautiful things happen when we finally release it, when we finally let go, when we let go of the attachment to the story, when we let go of the negativity, the judgment to ourselves and to others. When we stop engaging, stop colluding, when we stop, when we're authentic, when we have integrity, when we live in the not knowing, the invisibility, all of these things come together to create beauty in our own life. All of these things are wonderful, and we don't have to suffer. We don't have to suffer. Non-suffering, guys. Like, practice it every single day. Non-suffering. Listen, it's worth it. Do we beat ourselves up? Yes, because we are human. But do we have to? No. We don't have to. We don't have to see the ugly in others. We don't have to judge people. We don't have to judge ourselves. We don't have to suffer. We can live the beauty way. So as you guys start to work on your own energies, your own wounds, your stories, and you start to release things, I also want you to give yourself a lot of grace. Forgive yourself for putting yourself in those situations. That you did the best that you knew how to do in those moments, and there's nothing wrong with that. We are all learning. We are all evolving. We are all growing here. And it takes some uncomfortability. Sometimes we have to get uncomfortable to really grow. But there's still beauty behind that. And there's still strength behind that. And we can still learn. And we can still heal. And we can still grow. And we can still love. But we really and truly do have to start practicing the non-judgment and the non-attachments and the non-sufferings and the beauty way. We really and truly have to start learning those things and living in that to start to see a difference in our own world. It's not just, okay, I'm going to go and I'm going to work on this wound and I'm going to take it out and then that's going to be that and I'm done with it. No, you still have to do the work. There's still work to be done. There's still healing. You still have to live or walk the walk and talk the talk, you know? But there's a lot of beauty behind that. And that is why there's a lot of beauty behind the serpent also. And there's a lot of beauty in the South. A lot of times we can get lost in the South. We really and truly can. And we can give up. We can decide, hey, I'm not going to keep going. It's too painful. I don't want to, because we're taking those pieces out. But that's where the planting the seed comes in handy, because then we're putting a piece of us back in there, so to speak, as we create a new story, a new I am statement. When I start talking to you guys about soul retrievals, it'll be like putting those soul pieces, like those puzzle pieces, back together. But that's not until I talk to you guys about the North. I'm going to take you guys through kind of like a light version of the medicine wheel. Probably in the next few weeks, especially as I get ready to teach the medicine wheel again. As I get ready, you know, I've really dived into the medicine wheel again, but a lot of things have come out since I decided to start teaching, since I decided to get back to practicing and healing and having clients again. A lot of stuff, like figuring out that I saw roots were your wounds and that it went down to an actual seed, you know? I didn't know that. That's the beauty. So again, if you're a healer, let that authentic healing version of you come forward. And if you're thinking about becoming a healer, yes, we need you. We need you. We could never have too many healers. There's no such thing as competition in the healing world. For those who have really and truly healed, there's no power grab, there's no competition. It's just beauty, and it's healing, and it's lovely, and it's wonderful, and it's healed communication, and there's so many things that come from that. So congratulations if you decide that you are a healer and you do want to work with people, because it's a beautiful work, but it is also hard because you have to do the work yourself. You also have to do the inner work, the inner healing, all of that. Not the surface level. I'm talking go deep within, girl, and pull that stuff out. That's where you're going to see the results. That's where you're going to see the change. And there's so much beauty in that. So I hope that this helps. Thank you guys so much for joining me again today. I'm so excited. We'll probably be moving into the West in the next episode. If you're wanting to know anything about the upcoming courses that I have one that's called Unlock the Intuition Within. I'm working on that right now. I'm so excited because what we're doing in that one is we are actually to help you find your intuition and tap into your intuition and trust your own intuition. We're actually going to start from the very beginning with wound healing. So we're going to start there, and we're going to pull out the wounds and the stuff that makes you not trust yourself. And then we're going to move into learning how to trust your intuition, learning how to tap into your own gifts, and even some other fun stuff. But we're going to start at the beginning, because I feel like to get to your intuition, you do have to clear out the muck. You have to clear out the nasty. You have to clear that stuff out, so then you can get to the good stuff. To trusting your own intuition, to listening to that gut, to listen to your heart. So that all of this, your gut, your heart, your third eye, are all connected to help you make those decisions. Listen to your intuition. Follow your choices. Find your path and your purpose. Because we all deserve that. So, that's just one of the things that's coming up. And then of course I have another round of the medicine wheel that will be starting in August. I'm currently working with my shamanic teacher as I step further into the wheel. And I'll have other stuff coming soon too. I know a few of you guys have asked about the tarot course, and yes, I'm working on it. But there are some things that are stopping me from pushing that forward right now, and that's okay. We're going to allow that. But there's nothing wrong with that. So, I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you have a wonderful week. Go work on yourself. Go love yourself. Go forgive yourself. Don't be so hard on yourself. Non-judgment, non-suffering, non-attachment, and the beauty way. Bye guys.